What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jobbers and Goons, and today we have another theory video for the Goon Explained series. Recently did one on theory of Sentry potentially being something far more sinister than it's let on, and I enjoyed making that, got a lot of good feedback, so we're going to do one today on Superman. This is essentially my theory on Superman's final battle / his true purpose, which potentially we could see surface soon in terms of in the actual comics. Now, real quick before we get started, make sure to smash the like button. If you like Superman content, if you like content like this where I go over my own personal theories on comics and other forms of fiction, let me know by both hitting the like button, subscribing, commenting, and turning notifications on. But anyways, this is a theory. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's pretty bold, right? Like, Superman has not only this grand design, but this grand design includes being pretty much the one being or creature that the Great Darkness fears. And I'm kind of gonna go over my reasoning and what's led me to, or at least some of the things that's led me to believe Superman truly is not only the symbol of hope, but it's far stronger than what we give it credit for. Now, first point of the discussion to kind of talk about is a situation that occurred with Dream of the Endless. Now, if you don't know who the Endless are, these are beings that literally predate and are supposed to represent the beings that close the door on everything once it dies and goes away from existence. This would include even the gods. Some of the Endless, like Destiny and Death, are super famous. And then there's Dream, of course, controls dreams, nightmares, imagination, things of this nature. Now, upon a game he played in Hell, in which they were supposed to review and go over a game of what would win, right? Like, what's superior? Dream and this demon were going back and forth. And pretty much the final thing that escalated for the demon was it said, this is a power of darkness. Like, it's the final darkness. It's the end of everything. It's the oblivion. It's the great darkness. All these things, right? Now, this was supposed to be the winning blow against Dream. But what did Dream refer to it as? Or what was his counter that won? It was hope. This is obviously important with being who we know hope is, and that's Superman. Superman being the answer, being the counter, the successful and acknowledged successful one, might I add, to the final darkness, the great darkness. That's insane. Like, that implication there alone, that should raise some eyebrows. Like, hey, this might be a lot crazier than what we anticipated. Now, Pariah is this menace that used a fraction of the Great Darkness power, because the Great Darkness was laying dormant and was not doing its own thing. While obviously, yes, agents of the Great Darkness, whether knowingly or unknowingly, were making power moves on his behalf. Regardless, it was not really doing much. Pariah took a fraction of it, right? Like, took a portion. In a lot of ways, didn't even use this power right. But regardless, the power of the Great Darkness was used. It was spread across the multiverse. Shit was bad, right? Like, the multiverse was going to be destroyed and recreated around what Pariah using the heroes could make. Well, the reason this is so important is because when Pariah was defeated, when his machine turned on him, he was destroyed by the power. One thing that's interesting is a statement that came from him. In regards to the strongest power he ever experienced, the greatest weapon, the greatest power in existence or creation, it was hope. Now, obviously, this is important because this is the same character that was wheeling and dealing with the power of the Great Darkness. Yet, he states the greatest of the powers is hope. Obviously, we know who the ultimate symbol of hope is. Next is the interaction with Dr. Manhattan, right? Dr. Manhattan being a being who has power that can essentially work as like the antithesis to someone like a Perpetua, who garners power from the source to create multiverses within the greater omniverse, right? This is a being with extreme power. We're talking about chain snatched the White Lantern effortlessly, right? Like, just stupidly powerful. Manhattan, when he ran into Superman and was confronted by Superman, he was inspired. Now, Manhattan, upon confronting Superman, straight up, he was confused. He was like, man, what the fuck? I've run into a lot of shit in the DC multiverse. Like, I've run into some crazy things with crazy scaling. I've run into gods, anti-gods, fake gods, new gods, false gods, all these things. He runs into Superman, and he's confused as shit. He's like, man, when I look at the story of Superman, like his narrative, when I look at him, who he is in creation, I don't know what's going to happen to me if I go against that. Keep in mind, this is a character with essentially drawing powers from God, or a character that's drawing from a well of power associated with godlike existence, right? He sees all this, he sees the multiverse, and he's like, man, all this shit is low-key connected through the story of Superman. Every iteration, every type of Superman, everything within creation is kind of governed around Hope, and Hope being Superman. And he wasn't quite sure what would happen if his power of nothingness, if he were to try to turn everything to nothing, if he were to try to turn Superman into nothing. He didn't know what would happen. And in the end, it was kind of concluded like, yo, real shit. Superman always will be. Like, there's no way to actually erase him. Superman is gonna be around. And that's crazy to think about in terms of relative to who's discussing him and what tier of power we're discussing him on. Another case in point, the encounter with Phantom Stranger. Now, this occurred in New 52, and the reason this is important is because a lot of people, they say, like, this is the weakest version of Superman, right? Like, they're like, this is a trash version of Superman, anyone can beat him, stuff like that. Okay, bitches, well, let's observe this. In a time of crisis that threatened literal creation, Superman was confronted with Phantom Stranger. Phantom Stranger, of course, acting in the will of God. At this point, he's gone against characters like Blight. He's actually drawn blood from Spectre. Phantom Strangers played a game of chicken with Trigon's kids and was like not bothered by them. He was unbothered by Trigon himself. Whole bunch of crazy shit has happened, right? And like I said, he got in a brawl with Spectre. And he's battling things that can battle the collective unconscious. I mean, it's a fucking wild story. New 52, Phantom Stranger's story is actually really good. And upon Superman confronting him, there was no hesitation on Superman's end. Phantom Stranger tried to stop him. Superman casually ran through both the physical and metaphysical existence of the character Phantom Stranger. The reason this is crazy is because Phantom Stranger goes on to say, yo, real shit, they say there's no, like, holy presence here. There's no biblical / mythological / cultural, whatever you want to call it. There's no presence of that here, but that's false. He's like, in Metropolis, they do have a symbol. They do have a power akin to something like faith in God, right? Like a faith in a higher being like the presence. That exists in Superman. He really is Hope. The people really do believe in him. And that belief, that fundamental appreciation for the story of Superman and who he is, how the people hold on to that and put their complete faith in, at the end of the day, Superman will save the day. That is such a powerful belief that it's gotten to the point for Superman that Phantom Stranger says he has this aura to him. And now, what do we call that in the streets? Fucking plot armor. That's a literal acknowledgement of plot armor. But it's whatever. By the way, shout out to my boy GB for having such an A1 collection of Superman material. He's done a lot researching it, and it makes it a lot easier for me to edit. So definitely shout out to him. But getting back to this shit is crazy because he's basically saying, like, They pretty much have their own god, but he's not a part of a religion. He's not a part of a mythos. He's Superman. He's his own symbol, and his symbol has become one with hope, and that quite literally gives him this aura that allows him to do essentially what needs to be done to bring and restore hope, which essentially gives him no bounds, which Phantom Stranger thought was fucking crazy. That's another example where it's like, Superman might have a higher level of existence we gotta consider. And then finally, how it touches on existence itself, right? Existence, apparently, and essentially what it became, is just a collective of stories, a collective of instances, decisions, narratives, all things that have one device in common, right? All these things circle back to Superman. All of existence in DC, everything that's currently around, all the stories that are intertwined, everything that it makes up, these things are a result of the existence of Superman. Whether it's mainline Superman, whether it's a different Superman, regardless, existence itself is based on the greatest story ever told, which is Superman. So, in conclusion, what's my theory on this? What do I think is going to happen with Superman? What do I think his hidden purpose is? I personally believe that Superman is the one being made to withstand and overcome the great darkness. He will eventually be revealed to be the one being the darkness did not want to face. His hope is beyond religions and mythos. It's just Superman, and he is hope. And at the end of the day, I do believe he will be the one to stand up to the great darkness and defeat it, because no one can beat Superman. At the end of the day, he's the one story, the true story, the final star at the end of everything. The story of hope and Superman. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you agree. Do you think this is the higher purpose and the higher end to the story of Superman? Do you think he's going to be the one to take on the great darkness? Does the great darkness fear the story of hope? Let me know in the comment section down below. There's plenty more evidence to this, and maybe I'll drop another part if this gets a lot of traction. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love making content like this, so definitely let me know if you want to see other theories like this, not just on Superman but other characters. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been your boy Jobbers and Goons, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.